You're standing in line at Starbucks. It's Tuesday morning, you're tired, and that $6 latte is calling your name. You tap your card without thinking because, come on, it's just $6, right? Now, here's what's actually happening in that moment. You're not just buying coffee, you're making the single most important financial decision of your entire life. And you're making it over and over again, hundreds of times a month, without even realizing it. Look, I know that sounds dramatic, but by the end of this video, I'm going to show you why that one tiny decision, whether to spend that dollar or not, has more control over your financial future than your salary, your investment returns, or even that side hustle you keep thinking about starting. My name is Dexon, and I spend way too much time thinking about why people who make good money still feel broke at the end of every month. If you're someone who looks at your bank account and genuinely wonders where all your money went, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Here's the thing. Most financial advice gets completely backwards. Everyone's obsessed with the big decisions. Should I buy a house? Should I invest in crypto? What about that new car lease? But here's what the data actually shows. According to a study by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American makes about 70 purchasing decisions per week. That's over 3,600 decisions per year. And here's the kicker. Most of those decisions are under $50. Meanwhile, how many truly big financial decisions do you make in a year? Maybe 5? 10 at most. So we're spending all our mental energy agonizing over 10 big decisions while making 3,600 small ones on autopilot. Does that make any sense? Let me show you something that's going to blow your mind. Let's say you make $60,000 a year. After taxes, that's roughly $45,000, or about $3,750 per month. Now, your rent or mortgage probably takes about $1,200. Utilities, insurance, car payment, let's call that another $800. So you've got about $1,750 left for everything else. Here's where it gets really interesting. That daily $6 latte, over a month, that's $180. Your lunch out at work because you didn't meal prep, that's probably $12 a day, or $240 a month. The streaming services you barely use, another $50. That gym membership you visited twice last year, $40. Uber Eats a couple of times a week because you're too tired to cook, easily $200 a month. We're already at $710, and we haven't even talked about clothes, drinks with friends, random Amazon purchases, or any actual fun. Do the math in your head real quick. $710 out of $1,750. That's 40% of your discretionary income gone on things you barely remember buying. But here's what most people don't realize. It's not actually about the coffee. The real issue is something psychologists call decision fatigue, combined with what I call financial autopilot. Here's what happens. Every single day, you're making dozens of small financial decisions. And because they're small, you treat them as insignificant. Your brain literally doesn't register them as important enough to think about. A study from Cornell University found that we make over 200 decisions about food alone every single day, most of them completely unconscious. And it's the same with money. That $6 latte doesn't feel like a financial decision. It feels like a basic necessity, like breathing. Of course you're getting coffee. You're tired, you need to function, everyone does it. But here's the thing your brain is hiding from you. Each of those insignificant decisions is actually a choice between your present comfort and your future freedom. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Dexon, but even if I save $700 a month, that's not going to make me rich. And that's where everyone gets it wrong. Let's do the real math. If you took just $500 of those monthly micro expenses and invested them instead in a basic index fund earning the market's historical average of 10% annual returns, here's what happens. After 1 year, $6,200. After 5 years, $38,700. After 10 years, $102,000. After 20 years, $379,000. Read that last number again. $379,000. That's not from getting a better job. That's not from some genius investment strategy. That's from redirecting the money you're already spending on stuff you don't even remember buying. But here's what nobody tells you. It's not just about the money you save, it's about the decisions you start making differently once you're aware. When you start paying attention to small decisions, something weird happens. You get better at big ones too. Think about it. If you can't control whether you spend $6 on coffee, how are you going to control whether you spend $30,000 on a car you don't really need? If you haven't built the muscle of saying no to small purchases, you definitely don't have it for big ones. I learned this the hard way. A few years ago, I was making decent money but felt completely broke. And I kept thinking, I just need a raise. I need more income. Classic mistake. Then I actually tracked my spending for 1 month, just one, and I was shocked. I had spent $340 on food delivery. $340. I didn't even remember most of those meals. But here's what changed everything. It wasn't the $340 that bothered me. It was realizing I had made that decision to order food instead of cooking over 25 times in 1 month without even thinking about it. I wasn't in control. My habits were in control. Look, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying never spend money on things you enjoy. I'm not saying deprive yourself. That's miserable and it doesn't work long term. What I am saying is this: make it a conscious decision. Here's the framework that changed my life. Step 1. Track everything for 30 days. And I mean everything. Every coffee, every snack, every app purchase. Don't judge it. Don't try to change it yet. Just track it. You cannot fix what you cannot see. Step 2. Identify your autopilot spending. Look at your tracking and circle everything you bought without really thinking about it. Not the things you don't value, the things you literally bought on autopilot. For me, it was food delivery and random Amazon purchases. Step 3. Add friction to autopilot purchases. This is key. You're not banning anything. You're just making yourself pause. Delete the food delivery apps from your phone. Unsubscribe from marketing emails. Remove your card from one-click purchasing. Make yourself manually type in your card number. Sounds stupid, right? But that extra 15 seconds is enough to wake your brain up and ask, do I actually want this? Step 4. Create a guilt-free spending category. Here's the thing. Restriction doesn't work. You need to give yourself permission to spend on things you genuinely value. For me, that's good meals with friends and travel. For you, it might be concerts or books or whatever. But here's the rule. You have to decide in advance. You budget for it. You make it intentional. When you spend money on something you've deliberately chosen to prioritize, there's no guilt. There's no, where did my money go? Because you know exactly where it went, towards something you actually value. Now, here's where this gets really powerful. Remember those 70 purchasing decisions you make every week? Once you fix your autopilot spending, you're not making 70 decisions anymore. You're making maybe 20 conscious, intentional ones. And that changes everything. Because now you're not depleting your mental energy on hundreds of tiny financial decisions. You've got rules, you've got systems, you've got autopilot working for you instead of against you. That mental energy you were wasting, you can now use it for the decisions that actually matter. Whether to negotiate your salary, whether that investment opportunity makes sense, whether you should start that business. The uncomfortable truth. Here's what most people don't want to hear. You're probably not broke because you don't make enough money. You're broke because you've outsourced your financial decisions to your tired, stressed out autopilot brain. And your autopilot brain is really good at making you feel better right now. It's terrible at making you wealthy later. A study from the Journal of Consumer Research found that people consistently overestimate how much happiness they'll get from purchases under $100, and they consistently underestimate how much they'll regret them later. Think about that. Every time you're tired and scrolling through DoorDash, your brain is lying to you about how good you'll feel after that food arrives. The temporary comfort of not cooking dinner tonight versus the permanent comfort of having $100,000 in the bank 10 years from now. Your brain can't properly compare those two things. They don't even register as the same category of decision. But here's the good news. This works in reverse too. When you start making better small decisions, you build momentum. You start to see your bank account actually growing instead of evaporating. And that feeling, that's addictive in the best way. I remember the first month after I fixed my autopilot spending. I had $800 left over at the end of the month. $800. I hadn't had money left over at the end of the month in years. And it wasn't because I was miserable. I still went out with friends. I still bought things I wanted. I just did it intentionally instead of automatically. That $800 made me feel more in control of my life than any raise ever did, because it proved to me I wasn't a victim of my finances. I was in the driver's seat. Your action plan. All right, here's exactly what you need to do starting today. Download a spending tracker app. Literally right now. Pause this video and do it. I like Mint or NYAB, but honestly, even a Notes app works. Just commit to tracking every single purchase for the next 30 days. This week, look at your bank statements from the last month. Calculate how much you spent on autopilot purchases. Be honest with yourself. That number is your baseline. This month, identify your top 3 autopilot spending categories and add friction to them. Delete the apps, remove saved payment info, whatever it takes. Ongoing, every Sunday, review your spending from the past week. It takes 5 minutes, and those 5 minutes will save you thousands of dollars. Closing. Look, nobody's going to fix your finances for you. Your employer isn't going to suddenly pay you enough that you can stop thinking about money. The government isn't going to bail you out. You have to do this. But here's what I know for sure. You have more control than you think you do. That feeling of where did all my money go isn't inevitable. It's a symptom of operating on autopilot. And the cure, it's simpler than you think. It's not about making more money. It's not about some complex investment strategy. It's about taking back control of the hundreds of small decisions you're currently making unconsciously. Every single purchase is a choice, not just a choice between buying and not buying, a choice between the person you are now and the person you're becoming. That $6 latte, it's fine. Get the latte, but make it a choice. Know why you're buying it. Know what you're trading for it, because that's the secret nobody tells you. Financial freedom isn't about having $1 million in the bank. It's about knowing exactly where every dollar goes and being okay with it. That's freedom. That's control. And it starts with the next dollar you spend. If this video helped you see money differently, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment and let me know which autopilot spending category you're going to tackle first. And remember, you got this. One decision at a time. I'll see you in the next one.